Hello, colleagues. Before we get into the day of rest, to do what our ancestors did on CHI and UKWU days, I will dwell on a subject I choose to call the love of God. If time permits, before I close off this presentation, I'm going to discuss the CHI and UKWU days very briefly, even though on this platform I've had talks about them. If you find my video in which I talked about the Igbos and Sabbath, you will get what I mean. Ladies and gentlemen, the Igbo people called the person who followed the Igbo religion Omenana onye Ogommo. Onye Ogommo. Any Igbo in my part of Igbo land and in any part of Igbo land, ask him or her, what would we call this person who is not a Christian, who is not a Muslim, who is not a Buddhist, who is just a believer in the Igbo religion? What you will get is Obu Onye Ogommo. He is Onye Ogommo. If we want to translate, I do not mean to explain, but to translate what Obu Onye Ogommo means. We would simply get, he is a person who blesses or worships spirits. Interestingly, we all grew up because of the missionary experience in our land. We all thought that Onye Ogommo meant pagan or person who worships idols. Remember, we were all converted from Igbo to Christians. When I say all, I think I got it wrong. Majority of us, either through our parents or only very few Igbos, entered themselves, and even the parents did not enter themselves, they were forced in. So, Onye Ogommo means worshipper or person who blesses spirits. One of the most favorite names of the Igbos is Ngozi. It's a name that will remain dear to my heart because one of my heroes, one of my sisters who passed on very early, her name was Ngozi. Talk about, by the way, the most powerful Igbo woman today in the world. The most influential Igbo woman in the world today, Iweala, the head of the World Trade, the organization that deals with world trade, I think WTO or whatever. Her name is Ngozi. The most famous woman writer on the continent, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. My beloved departed elder sister was also called Ngozi. Interestingly, majority of us did not connect the G-O in Ngozi to the G-O in Ego Mmuo. I will actually get into why I am making this video. God is a loving father. Chukwu is a loving father. If he wants to save you, and I don't know why he would not want to save you, he will leave you road marks at every point in time and in history. He's omnipresent, he's omniscient. He knew that the Igbos will wage a struggle all through their existence. That struggle will be to remain faithful to him and to always be mindful of honoring their ancestors that labored to get the true religion from Chukwu. He knew that Igbos will always be tempted to mix in with the crowd, to become like others. He knew that there will always be Igbos who will see a life and death matter like history as a plaything. He knew that there will be a time when we will have social media, and many Igbos will see having 5,000 friends, getting 5,000 likes every single day as important indicators of whatever, and they will play with history. So he left landmarks, left roadmaps everywhere, so that the Igbos that will decide to make the sacrifice will use them to keep on pointing out to the Igbos, you are different. Crucially, the name or the identity, Onye Mmuo, just like the name Omenana or identity Omenana tells us exactly who the Igbos are. By the way, Mmuo means spirit. And as I have said before, Onye Mmuo means he who blesses or worships spirit. And to the Igbos, Chukwu is a spirit. So what this identity is telling us is that the Igbos worshipped spirit. Conduct a poll today. Majority of Igbos in the world. I'm always very, very sad and bitter to say this. We tell you that the Igbos, it's very, very heavy for me to say this. They do not know that the Igbos, they do not know at the present time that the Igbos did not worship objects that could be seen. Because the few things majority of Igbos know about their own religion are lies, falsehoods, hatreds concocted by the people who conquered them. Many an Igbo will tell you that he is an idol worshipper. When he says that he's an idol worshipper, he means that his ancestors were idol worshippers. But here we have his ancestors describe themselves, or we are described as Ndi Ogomwo, people who worship spirits. Idols are images. If the Igbos were worshiping objects, images, things that you could see, they would not have described themselves as people who worship spirits, people who worship Mmuo. You cannot see Mmuo. Igbos believe that spirits cannot be seen. Why did God plant this knowledge? He planted it because there would be a time. He knew there would be a time when Igbos will talk about gods because they read about them in books, not because they found them in the Igbo language. There are no words for gods in the Igbo language, while there is a word for God. G-O-D, single, but there is no word for gods, plural. For an Igbo to talk about gods, that Igbo has to leave the Igbo language, move to the English language, or to another language. Into all this confusion, works every day the desire to be like others. And Igbo suffering will only intensify when Igbos become like others, because others will never accept that Igbos will be like them. Others will never accept Igbos. It is their turn to produce the president of Nigeria. It was swept off the table like a dirty fly, swatted off. Even though, talk to majority of Igbos today, they will tell you about our Nigerian brothers, our African brothers. I have no reason to hate anybody. God planted love of everybody in my heart, but God also planted in my heart, you are a seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, a member of that special nation that walked out of Egypt. You have to walk alone. You will only earn your respect when you live by my commandments, which I passed to you through the religion and culture called Omenana. This done, I will say a few things about Nkworu, or Ekuku, or rather, and Ekeuku. In my community, in my republic, every Ekeuku day and every Nkworu day, the people do no kind of work. The people do not celebrate marriages. The people do not conduct funerals. All that the people do is rest and make merry. This was the Sabbath in ancient Israel. This is the Sabbath in present-day Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the subscribe button. We are engaged in a life and death struggle to save one of the nations that has something to say. Something very important to say about the betterment of all humanity. Every nation in the world has a role to play, and ladies and gentlemen that are subscribed to this channel, get your friends to subscribe too. This is where we learn a few of the things, or many of the things we need to know properly to become prime contributors. Buy our books on Amazon. I urge you to buy this. Get these too. Get the Hebrew Igbo Republics as well. Get Broken Paradise. Broken Paradise is very important to me. It demonstrates very clearly that the highest, greatest, most advanced civilization the world has ever seen was produced by my ancestors and your ancestors. Everything I said here is verifiable. If you want to know about our own suffering from the great crime called anti-Semitism, read this. It affects us too, but remember, we have been classified and categorized as Africans. So what happens to us doesn't get the mention they deserve to get. Thank you. Have a restful Shabbat. It's a commandment. Do your best to keep it. Thank you. God bless you.